Hi, I'm Doug from 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast, and welcome to another episode of the ChickenHead Chronicles. This week I want to talk about one of my favorite arcade games, Dig Dug. Loved it back in the day. Played it in the arcades quite a bit. The Commodore 64 conversion, one of my least favorite games on the entire planet. The original conversion for the Commodore 64 was created by Michael Reno in 1982, and it's a fairly accurate conversion of the game. The gameplay is pretty close, the graphics are pretty close. The audio, absolutely atrocious, just atrocious. If you know anything about Dig Dug, you know that the audio is a very important part of the game. When Dig Dug is moving, when he's stationary, when he's being chased, end game, when the last two enemies are on the screen, all the audio changes and gives you all these auditory cues, which are really important in a lot of video games. Well, the original Commodore 64 version just got a lot of it wrong. They either had the wrong audio, the wrong tunes, or no tunes in certain places, no sound effects. It's just crazy. Now, I suppose if I had just played the game and I'd never played the arcade version or never played a good conversion on another platform, I may not have ever noticed. But knowing what it's supposed to sound like and knowing what the Commodore 64 SID chip should be able to do, it's just unforgivable. Now, even the Atari 2600 and the VIC-20 version do a better job of trying to emulate the original audio on Dig Dug. I know that sounds weird, especially like the Atari 2600 with its mediocre at best audio capabilities, but it tries to get the music right. The VIC-20 version, yeah, the VIC chip doesn't sound quite as good as the SID chip, but it does a good job of really trying hard to emulate the audio. So first, let me show you the original arcade version. This is a conversion for the Nintendo Switch from the Namco Museum. Let's take a look what it's supposed to sound like. So that's what Dig Dug is supposed to sound like. That's the arcade conversion. Now imagine my excitement back in November of 2022 when I heard from Indie Retro News that a group called Hokuto Force was updating the original Dig Dug for the Commodore 64. And I got excited about that. I thought, okay, this group's going to take the original code. They're going to fix everything, including the audio. Well, they didn't fix the audio. They didn't touch the audio. The audio is the same as it always has been. They did add new features, like they created a special mode where Dig Dug moved in the original speed as the arcade. They fixed some bugs. They added a high score table, and they fixed it so the PAL version ran as good as the Ntsc version always did. So they did some really cool things, but the audio was exactly the same. Now, let's take a look at that version right now, and you'll see what I mean about the audio just sounding wrong. Take a listen. So you can tell is just wrong. There's just something that's not right about the audio on that original version. There are tunes that are missing. There are tunes that are in the wrong place. But the most heinous crime is when you finish a level, like you just saw there, you don't get that end of level tune that you're supposed to get. I mean, that's your reward for beating the level. You know, that's it. That's your reward. You're like, yes, I did it. Nothing. Just goes to a black screen. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Atari 2600 version and the VIC-20 version at least try to have all of the audio and do the best that their little chips can do to play the audio correctly. Here's a little bit from the VIC-20 version. I think you'll agree, that's a pretty darn good version. Considering that's just playing on the VIC chip, they are really trying to get the audio correct. From the tune when Dig Dug stops, the end of level tune, it's all there. It maybe doesn't sound as good as a SID chip can do, but the audio is all there. And other versions, like the Atari 5200 version, the Atari 7800 version, even the 2600 version, not only do they look good and play good, but they sound really, really good. All the audio's right there. Oh, and the Atari 8-bit version, like in the 800 XL. So to be honest, I've always found myself playing either the VIC-20 version or on one of my Ataris when I want to play a good retro game of Dig Dug. Now imagine my surprise last week when I heard there was going to be a brand new Dig Dug game being released for the Commodore 64 by a programming group called Ntsc Games. Now this one, they said, was created as an homage to the original Dig Dug. Its play is the same, its scoring is the same, but the levels are randomized. So it's not the same level every time. Level 1, Level 2, Level 3 in Dig Dug was always the same setup, same monsters. This one is more randomized, which changes things up a bit. So of course, my biggest question was, are they gonna do me right, and are they going to fix the audio in Dig Dug and make our SID chip proud? Well, let's take a look at the gameplay right here, and you tell me what you think. Wow, just wow. That, not only are the graphics almost spot on for the arcade, all things considered, you know, aspect ratios are a little different of course, but that audio, that's Dig Dug right there. They've got every tune, they've got every sound effect. Literally, my life is complete right now because Dig Dug for the Commodore 64 has finally been fixed. I can finally play it on one of my favorite gaming platforms. Life is complete. Now, these guys from LC Games, they make some other cool games too. They did a remake of Hero, which is awesome. They did a remake of Tutankhamun, which is another one of my very favorite games from back in the day. And I'm not one of those guys that complains that you can only shoot left and right, because it's part of the gameplay in Tutankhamun. That's the point, is you have to strategize where your dude goes in order to shoot left and right. Well, I'm getting off track here, sorry. They also did some really cool Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man remakes that I want to check out. I mean, I already love the Miss Pac-Man on the Commodore 64. It's by far my favorite version of any that I've played, but I want to see what he's done to improve Miss Pac-Man on the Commodore 64. Now, this new version of Dig Dug, in addition to being pretty faithful to the original except for the randomized levels, also now has 4 skill levels. There's an easy, normal, hard, and then an extremely hard mode, which is kind of cool. There's a high score table that can be saved to disk, and there's features like it runs the same in Ntsc or PAL. It doesn't slow down and cause problems in PAL mode like some American games always did. There's also a cool pause feature on the game. You can hit a button to pause it, so if your mom calls you to dinner, or you have to get up and go pee because you drank 5 Capri Suns while you're playing Dig Dug with your friends, well, you can now pause the game and go take care of what you need to take care of, which is nice. So I've been waiting for this version since 1982. I recommend you pop over to LC Games' itch.io page, and the link is right in the description. Pick this little guy up. Throw the author a couple of bucks for the game. It's a name your own price game, and name a little higher than he asked for. Give him a little bonus to give him an incentive to keep working on new games. I think that would be just great. Huge thanks to my patrons who you see scrolling over this lovely gameplay of the new Dig Dug Revival. If you want to help out my channel, pop on over to patreon.com/10mark for more information and join in the fun. Everybody's welcome. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for stopping by today. I really do appreciate it. I hope you like this new version of Dig Dug. I know I do. Follow me on Threads, Mastodon, Facebook, and that other platform. Let's see, it used to go by another name. Oh, the platform formerly known as Twitter. Please like and subscribe, and tell me about your favorite arcade conversions on the Commodore 64. It was absolutely brilliant what it could do with arcade games back in the day. Tell me what your favorite is. I'd love to hear it. But until next time, this is Doug from 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast signing out to go listen to some awesome Dig Dug tunes.